Good morning. Good morning, fellow internet governance practitioners and enthusiasts. Glad to see you here in the morning, especially this is the first session of the day. We also have people from outside of this room and all around the world joining us online. So across this hour, we are to examine governance responses and challenges from different sectors as well as stakeholder perspectives towards the germination of sexual deepfakes across the internet. Dramatic rise. This is what an Oxford Internet Institute study called out on the number of AI tools specifically designed to create deepfake images of identifiable people. This very timely study, formally just published this Monday, unveiled there were nearly 35,000 AI models available for public download on one platform service for generative AI, many of which are even marketed or with the intention to generate NCIIs, non-consensual intimate imageries. The Digital Service of Concern has responded to the Oxford study and is taking action in an exposed manner. And some governments are also taking actions. Take where I'm based as an example, the UK's 2025 Data Use and Access Act has just become effective last Thursday with the provision criminalizing the creation and requesting the creation of purported intimate images. However, the additional safeguards only applies to adults, as such behaviors, as explained by the government, targeting minors have already been covered by the law. But is that enough? Especially safeguards in the age of generative AI for teenagers, the so-called in-between phase from the innocence of childhood to adulthood. This workshop will directly and exactly be focusing on this, with 3 questions. Number 1, what legal and educational measures are most effective in addressing the creation and spread of sexual deepfakes among school-going teens? Number 2, how can different stakeholders collaborate to ensure that school curricula incorporate digital literacy and awareness about the dangers of sexual deepfakes? And number 3, what proactive policies can countries implement to anticipate technological changes and prevent sexual deepfakes harms against teenagers globally? My name is Kenneth Leung, Net Mission Board Advisor. Joining me today on stage, we have from my left, Ms. Ochi Wong, Net Mission Ambassador, bringing in the youth perspective. Mr. Ao Yitang, also a Net Mission Ambassador from the technical community. Ms. Janice Richardson of Inside SA, offering views from the education field, and Ms. Juliana Cunha from SaferNet Brazil, giving insights from an NGO standpoint. And we also have you all. After initial remarks by our speakers, we invite you to chime in with either questions, comments, perspectives, or experience on the topic. You will have 2 minutes to share your thoughts either in front of this mic or online by using the raise hand function. So if you have more thoughts and resources that you would like to share after this session, we'd love to have them. And please share it on this website, csit.tk. So, which will be closed after 1 week of this workshop for us to synthesize the discussion right now and on the comments platform to consolidate into a report next month. So it's csit.tk. This platform will be up right now, and then I will show it up one more time later. So hold your thought for now in the first 20 minutes, and let's hear from Chi Won and Yi Teng on youth and technical perspective in combating sexual deepfakes and safeguarding teens globally. Oh Chi Won holds a bachelor degree in Latin American Studies and Political Science and a master degree in political science in international relations. And Yi Teng is a technical person for the workshop. Yi Teng majors in computer science and is a Microsoft certified AI engineer. Over to you.
Okay, hello everyone. Today I will talk about how deepfakes affect students' lives and mental health. So first, let me explain what a deepfake is. So deepfakes are highly realistic video, audio, or image forgeries or replaces generated using AI. The technologies that created deepfakes include generate visual networks and machine learning. So with deepfake tools, people can copy someone's face and voice without permissions. In August last year, a big problem was found in Korea schools. Hundreds of secret chat rooms on Telegram were sharing deepfake sexual videos. These videos are used the real face of students and were shared in elementary, high, and middle school students. So this news shocked a whole country. With the technology and social media platforms, anyone can now make a watch a sexual video easily. It's not just adults. Many young people are involved. So in 2021, there were only 156 policy reports about deepfake news, sex crimes in Korea. But in 2024, the number increased to 1,202 cases. That's about 7 times more just 3 years. The most serious problem in this, most of the people who made these deepfakes are teenagers. So when students hear the news, will they be scared and think that they should never do it again? Not sure. Many students now use deepfake tools. These tools are easy to find online. Even young students can make deepfakes. But here's the problems. Actually, many students don't care because they think it's just funny and left and share the videos. They don't think about the pain this causes. So we can think many students feel shocked, scared, and frustrated when they see deepfakes, but victims feel anxious and safe. They also suffer from social stigma. Because of fear, students may lose trust in their students. Deepfake can hurt someone's reputation and make some that feel helpless. So there are 4 main reasons why deepfake problems are growing in the screen. There are many reasons why sexual deepfake crimes continue to happen in Korea, even after the law was changed. First, it is still unclear whether the new law are strong enough to stop these crimes. Some people say that more action is needed, especially to make internet companies act faster. Even when videos are illegal, they can spread for a long time if the removal takes too long. And then, so experts say that internet service provider must be more responsible. They should must to block, monitor, and prevent deepfake contents before it's spread. Also, the law should not only punish the people who make deepfakes. It should also punish to who acts other to create them. Because technology changes so fast, we need laws that are clear, strong, and stable even for new types of digital crimes. Second, this issue is not only about sex crimes. It is part of the bigger problem, misinformation and fake contents. For example, fake videos or politicians and celebrities can halt democracy by spreading lies. That's why we need a unified national response with the government, school, and company working together. It's finally one of the most important causes of lack of the education. Many young people don't really understand how serious these crimes are. Some even think it's funny or harmless. That's why school needed to teach students what the fake are, how dangerous they are, and what will happen in some breaks to law. Also, people and better digital literacy, the ability to understand what is real or fake online. We must help young people and adults be smarter and more careful online. So what can we do? So where deepfakes can happen, start on investigations. They try to find who made me share the video. A school separated victim and offender. They also give counseling and supporting to the victims. There are some legal protection, but they are not enough right now. We need more stronger laws to punish the deepfake crimes in all economies. So we also need to educate students or raise awareness. It is important to support the victims and protect their safety. Okay, thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Eteng. So to put things into context, here are some numbers I want to share. In South Korea, over 500 schools were affected by deepfake videos and photos, many taken secretly at school or from social media like X and Instagram. A December survey of 2,145 middle and high schoolers showed that 54% said offenders just did it for fun. Other reasons included curiosity or thinking that the consequences were minor, highlighting a lack of awareness about the seriousness. In response, the Ministry of Education published 5 guidebooks this April. They are tailored to different age groups. There's a cartoonic version for elementary students and separate editions for middle high schoolers, teachers, and caregivers. The guidebooks cover 3 key situations. What if I'm the victim? What if someone around me is? And what if something I did caused harm? For the technical folks here, I'll highlight 3 innovations. First, the Korean deepfake dataset, released in 2021, contains 2.73 terabytes of photos and videos. It was created to address the lack of Korean representation in existing datasets. With this, Seoul National University students achieved 96% accuracy in detecting altered videos. Economies without such datasets might consider developing one tailored to their local needs. Second, the Seoul Metropolitan Government developed a detection tool, enhanced in May 2025, targeting illicit content involving minors. It identifies items such as school books, uniforms, and dolls, and even youth slang, flagging underage content even when faces aren't visible. It also scans search terms and drafts multilingual reports depending on the site's host country. Lastly, I would share about a phenomenon called platform hopping. Many deepfake crimes in South Korea began on Telegram, but as the company now actively cooperates with South Korean authorities, on a forum, DC Insight, it was noted that perpetrators have shifted to other platforms, making detection harder due to lower data logging. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jiwon and Ethan, for your sharing the Korean case, but also what is the Korean government after the case happens. And I just want to also plug here the Asia Pacific Policy Observatory that I advise on, as this particular case was also heavily debated and spotlighted in one of our latest analyses on how the recent advancement of AI capabilities are transforming online safety and security, which include challenges in the search of AI-generated child sexual abuse material and AI-powered gender-based violence. So I invite you to take a look when it's out this week during IGF, and I'll be sure to send a link up at that commenting platform, csit.tk. So, and now we'd love to hear from Janice for thoughts in education and the private sector's perspective. Janice Richardson has been an educator for 50 plus years in half a dozen different countries, including Australia, Europe, and Africa. She sits on the Safety Advisory Board of Meta and Snapchat, and is a partner in the European Commission and Council of Europe projects focusing on the impacts of AI, misinformation, algorithms, etc. on democracy at all levels of education. Janice, please.
Thank you. And first of all, thank you very much to all of those people that I reached out in the UK, Poland, France, the Netherlands, who gave me information about what are the solutions. But let's begin with what are the challenges. Schools still have a tendency to post the image of their pupils in sports, in all sorts of activities. And this is the first problem. There are so many images out there. Maybe they were consensual in the beginning, but they can very easily be used when creating deep fakes. Secondly, it's the availability of tools such as Nudify, Undressed, Dressed. I don't know, there are so many out there, and I find it absolutely amazing that they can still exist on the market. Then, of course, we have the enforcement challenges. We've done quite a bit of work in Morocco, training the judiciary area so that they really understand how you collect electronic proof, how you use electronic proof. But not all laws are adapted to this type of proof. And therefore, we do need some legal amendments in many countries. The media, the way they report these things. We've also started training the media to make them understand that being spectacular may be a good way to get a lot of people to come to your website, but it's certainly not helping the victims, and it's actually calling for a lot of copycat behavior. Then I would cite the lack of cross-platform collaboration. I know there are projects such as Lantern where companies, social media in particular, come together to share knowledge. But the problem with this is that it's across platforms. It happens as many different layers. And until industry joins up, I think it's going to be very difficult to find a solution. Industry needs to be a partner with education. It shouldn't just be there supplying tools or pushing their tools, I could say, onto the education sector and then throwing out bits of education to help young people. It should be there when we're developing curricula, finding ways together that we can use real-life cases, real-life resources in a way that will be much more impactful for learning. There are, of course, many issues when we look at education systems, because few teachers have the training that's necessary to be able to tackle this issue. We've started an innovative project in Morocco where we've trained 2 teachers from every one of the 86 regions of Morocco. They have trained in Cascade. Our aim is to have 2 teachers who fully understand the issue, who receive regular updates in every school, so that if there are 2 teachers in every school, 2 resource persons, there should be a very fast way to escalate the issues. There are lots of very interesting programs out there. I can cite what's going on in France, for example, where law students at the Sorbonne University have come together and created a poster competition because they feel if they create the framework for a poster competition, providing little snippets of the law so the public becomes more familiar with the law, then everyone can create posters which will be meaningful and informative and reach the young people who are very much concerned by this issue. I really like something that happens in the Netherlands too. They have lots of television programs, debates, but every school there has the freedom to choose the way that they're going around this issue. But when a young person goes from elementary school to middle school, they go through a 6-week course on health, on technology, on all of the issues that can really help them tackle these issues, these problems, because you know the big shift when they go from elementary school through to secondary school. We have a very innovative project running in Scandinavia, thanks to the support of Huawei. I train a magician, and I work with the magician to find tricks that are going to reinforce the messages that I will put into a presentation. Then it's the magician that delivers in 1-hour sessions in schools. They deliver what I've prepared and what helps them tackle very, very interesting projects in a fun way, so that kids are on board, are interested, but they don't feel threatened in any way. There's one big problem I've noticed in all of the countries that I work in, and it's reporting. The humiliation if you have to report that an image of you has been shared, especially in countries like Morocco or Tunisia. So we need to take another approach to reporting. We need to educate children from the cradle to understand, 1, the importance of human dignity, 2, that when something is not going right, there are ways to say it that are not hurtful, that are not telling tales. There are the right ways to do it. I should then mention the helplines. This has been a super initiative across Europe. I actually got figures from the Netherlands, which shows me that in about 6,500 cases over the past year, we could say that about 5% are about AI-generated sexual fake profiles. But it's early days. It's going to get worse. Therapy, support for the victims. These are all extremely important areas. But when I talk to young people, they say, actually, it's not the nude profiles that are bothersome. If someone puts a bikini, but then a very sexual stance, is it a fake profile? Is it a sexual profile? This is where it really raises issues. If there's a little bit of clothing, then they think they're out of the category of a sexual fake profile. Young people also turn to me and say, you should be educating the adults about this, because very often it's them, the ones that are suffering, the ones that are doing this, and the ones that don't have the education to tackle it. So I'd say that's a broad sweep of where I think we should go, of the education projects we should set up. But as many of you know, I believe it's all about digital citizenship, understanding that you are a citizen, you have an obligation for all of those around you, regardless of what it is. You also have an obligation to share your knowledge, because if we're here today, we have knowledge about this subject. So we need to share it so that it really becomes a grassroots movement to educate everyone on how to tackle this plague. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Janice. It's indeed a broad sweep of issues that you've mentioned, and lots of good solutions. And you also mentioned about cases from Scandinavian, Morocco, the Netherlands, Tunisia. That also means this issue, sexual defects, are really transcending the border, and it's a global issue. So this is why we are here. And I would like to now turn the floor to Ms. Juliana Cunha for Latin American perspective and some of the work that you do. Juliana Cunha holds a bachelor degree in psychology and a master degree in culture and society. At SaferNet Brazil, Juliana coordinates the national helpline for online safety, interacting with and counseling children, teenagers, and adults about sexting, cyberbullying, sexual extortion, and other risks online. In this regard, she also collaborated with media outlets and advertising bodies to create national and international award-winning campaigns. So after Juliana's presentation and sharing her perspective, I will invite everyone who want to share to come up to the floor in front of the mic on this side, or for Zoom participants, please do type in your question and we'll consolidate and address those questions. So the floor is yours. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. I'd like just to brief introduction about SaferNet work. SaferNet is a 20 years long non-profit organization dedicated to establish a multi-stakeholder approach to protect human rights in digital environments. We work as a Safer Internet Center, which coordinates actions in 3 pillars of online safety. The Brazilian National Cyber Tip Line, a hotline through which users can report anonymously crimes against human rights. The National Web-Based Helpline, which offers one-to-one online conversation about different risks and provide support to children, young people, families, and educators about online safety. And the third pillar is the country's awareness and education hub, which is responsible for the educational activities involving workshops with students, educators, families, developing materials and carry out campaigns on digital citizenship. About the context, the Brazilian context, in 2023, SaferNet reported a historic spike in reports related to child sexual abuse material online in Brazil. And a key factor was the rising of the use of AI tools, such as notifying apps, as mentioned, and bots by young people to generate and share fake nudes of classmates. This problem already affected large schools in Brazil, especially private schools, with several cases being reported by media outlets. The new trend challenges us to find an appropriate response, especially due to the fact that victims and perpetrators are minors, and the boundary between sexual experimentation and sexual abuse is becoming a little bit blurred. And this phenomenon, I think, is reshaping the way young people perceive sexuality, relationship, and consent. I would like to highlight increase in reports in Brazil, especially involving Telegram. As I mentioned before, this is the huge challenge for us in Brazil right now, because we have in 2023-24, 90% of the reporters related to messaging apps in Brazil involving Telegram reports. WhatsApp and Signal together accounted the remaining 90% during the same periods. When you notice, when notify, the company limits this response for deleting evidence with little cooperation with law enforcement agency. It's worth noting that at least 38 countries have legislation requiring requiring digital platforms like Telegram to report to authorities when they are aware of hosting child sexual abuse material. In the United States, for example, the National Center Missing of Exploited Children, NACMEC, received 20 million industries submitted reports in 2023, none of them from Telegram. Last year, NACMEC saw an increase, 1,325 increase in reports involving generative AI, going from the 4,700 in 2023 in 7,000 reports in 2024. It's an increase, large increase number. This alarming trend is also noted in Brazil. The persistence of systemic risk is inadequate response, moderation of illegal content, and Telegram's non-compliance with Brazilian child protection laws led SaferNet to file a formal complaint against the company with the Federal Prosecutor Office in October last year, and this is the report based on this complaint. In October, I think it's interesting to show the proportion of the problem in Brazil. So this is the QR code to access the report. So to deep dive this trend, we run an ongoing project from Safe Online Tax Coalition, which will investigate how teens in Brazil are affected by the use of generative AI to create and spread deepfake sexual images, also known as deep nudes, We are listening 4 key groups in these incidents: survivors whose images were manipulated and shared, adolescents who created and shared deep nudes, bystanders who witnessed the situation, and educators and caregivers. We will conduct a one-on-one interview with survivors and perpetrators, co-creation workshops with bystanders, and one session with educators. All activities are trauma-informed, confidential, and led by experienced professionals from Helpline team. Our expected outcomes include qualitative insights into how teens perceive and engage with AI-generated sexual images, practical recommendations to inform child-centered safety policies in Brazil, tangible resources for platforms to improve their trust and safety responses, a national awareness campaign to help teens identify, report, and resist this form of abuse, and a step-by-step methodological manual to replicate this work in other countries and contexts. One of the main challenges, I'm concluding right now. One of the main challenges we face is going beyond legal and punitive measures. While accountability is essential, this phenomenon is deeply embedded in a culture that reproduces gender-based social norms, as mentioned previous. The misuse of GenAI to create sexualized images of peers is not a tech issue or a legal gap. It's a reflection of a broader systemic gender inequalities. That's why prevention must also be cultural. We need long-term interventions focused on education, awareness, digital literacy in schools, as Janice mentioned, where social norms are being formed. This project aims not only to expose the harm caused by AI-generated sexual image content, but also to empower teens, educators, and communities for critically engage with these issues. Our core belief is the best way to protect children is by listening to them. This project challenges the usual top-down approach. Instead of responding with moral panic or punitive measures, we are asking, how do teens actually experience this? What do they think would help? And to conclude my thoughts, to effectively address this issue, we need a coordinated multi-stakeholder approach, response, bringing together tech companies, public institutions, and society and academia. We have seen some initial steps. For example, Meta took action against a company circumventing advertising rules to promote nudifying apps in these platforms. This is the first step, but that must be followed by other measures. We need the entire industry across sectors to take stronger action, especially against products that are deliberately designed to violate rights, exploit vulnerabilities, and bypass existing safety standards. This requires clear accountability for enablers of harm, stronger safeguards built into platforms by design, and bold child-centered innovation that respect human rights. And just to conclude, I bring an example of educational resource. It's in Brazilian Portuguese, unfortunately, to address the issue of gender online violence, co-created with adolescents in Brazil in partnership with UNICEF Brazil. It combines legal guidance, real-life cases, and interactive activities. Is a tool to foster dialogue in classroom and with youth groups. And the type of research helps to equip youth with the tools to understand their rights, recognize harm, and build a culture of respect online. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Juliana. And thank you for bringing us the Brazilian case and highlighting how encrypted platforms and services were misused not only to disseminate CSAM, but also creating a CSAM economy on the platform, which is very worrying. And I also like how Juliana and Janice has been stressing the importance of cross-platform and cross-sectoral collaboration in combating sexual deepfakes. So now I will open up the floor to everyone, and we'd love to hear your statement, your questions, and your comments, both here and online. So, and you will have 2 minutes to have your statements, and please state your name and affiliation when you do so, please. Please head to the mic in front of you. Thank you.
Okay, I just understood this. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Hello, great to meet you all, and thank you for the great panel. My name is Mariana. I am Colombian. I work at the DataSphere Initiative. Very happy to hear the Brazilian case. I work and I'm leading one of our big projects that's actually very close to my heart, which is called the Youth for a Data Future project. We've been engaging young people in different parts of the world, pretty much in the conversation around data governance. And right now we're wrapping up that project and we're starting to shape an initiative focused on influencers. So one of my big questions, and I think it's for all of you actually, is if you've touched on this topic and how have you started thinking about the role that not only influencers themselves as adults that are influencing the online space, but young people themselves. And in Brazil, there's a very interesting case around kidfluencers. So 4 or 5-year-olds that are famous because of their parents' influence, and they're put online and they're sharing content and creating content themselves, or parents creating content with them. So one of my questions is how do you see this interplay, and what's the role of the influencer industry in shaping safety online, and have you thought about any kind of actions that could help us build a safer and more inclusive internet? And there I just close my question, and this is more of an invitation to anybody who's interested in the topic. I would be very much very excited to talk about this later after the workshop's over, because very excited about the work that you're all doing. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm seeing thank you so much. I'm seeing there's a long queue, and we do want to get through every statement. So I would suggest to have maybe 3 statements or intervention at a time, and then panel will address it collectively if that's all right. But thank you very much for your first question. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Francis. I'm part of YouthDig, and I just have 2 questions. The first, I think, Janice, you highlighted this. Why not just have a real crackdown on these kind of applications? Because I think a big reason why young children are using these apps is because it's just very easy, right? So it's easy to access them, you just download them, and app stores providing these kind of applications, whether it's advertised as being nudifying or not explicitly, necessarily means that young children think it's the same as downloading Instagram or a snake game or things like this. So the message you're sending to young people, if it's allowed on the App Store, is that this is appropriate and it's equivalent to other fun apps, right? So why can't we just outright ban it? I think this is something that charities in the UK are really trying to push now. And what difficulty do you have with trying to draw the line about what apps you do ban, depending on what kind of tools they allow young people or people in general to have? And then the second thing I just wanted to raise was, I think I very much agree about education and societal and attitudinal change. This is a problem about gender-based violence, and it's just another form of it, right? And I think in young children, we're talking about deepfakes today, but I also think educating young children, perhaps especially young women, that when you share even real content with people who you think are trusted individuals as a young person, which it's easy to feel this way if you're having a relationship online or quasi online, then it's very important that these young people know that the content that gets shared online is always online. So even when you have WhatsApp as end-to-end encrypted and you can send these one-time images, that they're never one-time images, and this technology is very different to in-person relationships. So I would also say that. Yep.
Thank you.
Good morning. Robert Hoving from the Safer Internet Center in the Netherlands of Limits and also of InHope. As Janice already shared our numbers, thank you very much. I won't go into my statement, but I was wondering two things. I went, just sitting here, I went to Google, I went to Bing, and I went to DuckDuckGo. And when you put in best notify apps, you just get them. So that's how easy it is. A global legislation answer might be difficult. We've seen it with Mr. Deepfakes. In the Netherlands, deepfakes are both criminalized and also according to privacy law. But then you can use a VPN and you act like you come from another country, so that's difficult. But I think you might do something with the search engines. Curious about your vision on that. Second part is, as it's so difficult to have a legal global answer, I do think, but I'm a kind of glass half full kind of guy, it is possible to have a more global awareness answer. I'm very curious how you look at these two questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Since we have 3 speakers for intervention ready, I guess that we can address it very succinctly and then move on. But yeah, I would love your responses to those 3 interventions.
I'll address the question regarding why can't we ban apps that create deepfakes and the similar question about search results. So actually, in many countries, the laws that are against deepfakes, it's very muddy, because it's a picture that is modified. Although it's a picture of a face, the body is different. It's not. So there's a lot of the times it's very hard to prosecute the perpetrators, as well as there's many societal issues as well. So in South Korea, there was an anecdote from a teacher whereby in Incheon there was a photo, the sexual deepfake of a photo uploaded to the X, formerly called Twitter. The perpetrator, she found out, was her student, but she had to find the student herself because the police did nothing. Then there is also many. It's the law. In short, the law needs to improve to be actually to be effectively punishing those perpetrators. Yeah.
I'd like to quickly respond to a couple of points. Influencers, kids are actually sick of them. So I think that maybe this is a trend which is not growing, which perhaps will start dwindling out. But once again, it's up to education to show that there are real places and real people who understand their subject, and let's go to those people and not to someone trying to sell me a product. So education. Secondly, yeah, I asked the same question. But in fact, we come here, we talk, and then we don't do anything about it. And if people like us came together, formed a group, started putting pressure on the search engines to delete access to these type of apps, then I think we may get somewhere. It's very easy for industry. They have the money. They're getting our data. They're seeing where people are going. But why don't people join together? Why don't people make an international action against this? So that's my call. Let's keep working on it. And yeah, once online, always online. There's nothing more that we can say except teach our children from age 1, 2, 3. Internet's great to explore, but they have to know that what's mine is mine and my privacy is the most precious possession I have.
About the influencers in Brazil, it's they play a key role in the culture, especially because we have big influencers right now. We are discussing related to gambling, for example, and some influencers went to a public hearing to explain all the model, the business model related to publicize gambling apps, sorry. But of course, in SaferNet, we have, on the other hand, an experience involving influencers in campaigns. It's very, very interesting to, because it's an effective way to communicate with young people. So you have the two sides of the coin. The influencers that gain millions and publicizing, for example, bad products. On the other hand, we have influencers that is a role model for many young people. And I think you have to take advantage to how to avoid this, and the regulators has the challenge to regulate influencers in Brazil, but on the other hand, it's important to involve them. And about the other question, I think technically, is it possible? But of course, there is challenges. For example, how these companies bypassing the example of the Meta. Even when you ban this kind of advertise, companies try to bypass the rules. So I think the challenge is how to technically implement it and anticipate ways that these players can try to bypass. And of course, the awareness. I really think that if it's rooted in the culture, it's really hard. Of course, we can do better in terms of awareness as a global trend. It's a new trend. Many people in Brazil don't aware about it, but I think that the culture play an important role. So the awareness maybe can address this culture, because in Brazil especially, we have the spike of humans violence, so it's very hard to change this reality.
Right, thank you so much for the responses. I will suggest, because we are sort of closing in for the session, but we still want to get through. So if everyone can have maybe just 1 minute for your intervention and our panelists do a very quick response, that would be gorgeous. So again, please, you have the floor for 1 minute. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you very much. My name is Maciej Groń. I'm from the Polish Research Institute NASK and also the hotline dyżurnet.pl. First of all, I would like to thank you very much for this organizing the session. It's very important. The deepfake phenomena is not something new, but the scale and the accessibility is completely new, and makes the big difference. Especially, these new apps for undressing people, they are really democratizing, this technical science, which was, very difficult to make, these things 20 years ago, and even 2 years ago, or 3. Now it's accessible on a phone, and now I'm the lawyer, so I can say it about our regulation system. It was. Now it's very difficult, because we have the completely new situation. The adults are transformed into the child are transformed into the adults, and there are the new situation which are not easy to tackle, especially in the formal process in the court. So this is the big challenge. Also the big challenge is that the victim and perpetrator, they are also can be the children. And for example, in our law system, there's something like a public some pedophile register, and it would be and it's not true that the children that are not pedophiles. So we have to change the law. We are preparing, and we are in the process of preparing the new part of the criminal code and change some new regulations. And thank you very much. I think.
Thank you. Thank you so
Amanda,
much. Yeah.
bye bye.
Can we have first this gentleman for 1 minute?
Yes, surely. We'll be brief. Hi, my name's Andrew Campling. I'm a trustee with the Internet Watch Foundation. 3 very quick points. I put in the chat a link where people can report illegal images, including AI-generated, which you can report anonymously, and then they're added to our block list if they're deemed to be illegal, and that will prevent, through many services, them being shared further. Which is at least progress. And that includes, by the way, on the public spaces on Telegram, which has recently joined the IGF after its CEO was placed under house arrest in France. Question for the panel. I think the biggest issue we have is with end-to-end encrypted messaging services. You can technically prevent the sharing of CSAM on those services, but it needs technical action by the service operators. It doesn't break encryption, but I think that's where we should focus our attention, because we know that's where CSAM, including deepfake generated images, is very widely shared. There's lots of research that shows that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I guess we can run through all the questions and then panelists can respond with the final remarks. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, hello. My name is Thorsten Krause. I'm affiliated with the Digital Opportunities Foundation based in Germany. I would like to touch on 2 points. It was mentioned that pictures and photos of pupils, members of sports communities and so on are part of the challenge. And I get this point, I understand it, but I'm wondering what will be the solution, because I'm will not imagine an internet and digital environment without photos, experiences of children and young persons online, because they also have the right to see their experience reflected in the internet and to find a connection to themselves. So what will be the solution on that? Secondly, it's connected to what Andrew Campling asked. In the European Union, we are discussing since 3 years if it should be allowed or if it should be okay to compromise privacy and detect CSAM, known and unknown, and also grooming in encrypted environments. And I would like to know, maybe especially from the youth ambassadors, what's your perspective on that? Thanks.
Sorry. Hi, my name is Claire, and I'm a student from Hong Kong. I was wondering, excluding through education and policy and implementation, what are some preventative measures for students in combating deepfakes? Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sana and I'm from NetMission. So my question is, given the rapid advancement of AI tools that can generate hyper-realistic fake contents easily, so what kind of the detection system or proactive mechanism are currently being developed, especially when we are talking about the NGOs and also when we are discussing the Koreans rapidly increasing those video viraling and images viraling. So at that point, I just have a question should we prioritize to identify and stop the spread of sexual deepfakes targeting minors before they go viral? Thank you.
Hey, I'm Yuri Bokovoy from the Finnish Green Party. My first question is specifically to Janice. It's about how to improve awareness of these issues, especially in education. When the government, rotary legislators in education departments are, at least in our country, quite often made up of quite conservative voices which dismiss these issues as harmless. And the second question is more general about we've seen a lot of these regulations that are supposed to protect children be misused by more authoritarian governments to silence free speech and expression elsewhere. Most recently, to today and yesterday in Hungary. What can we do to safeguard against misuse of these regulations that are supposed to protect children?
Thank you so much. And we actually have one last comment on Zoom. I'll just read it out. It's a statement and she wants to chime in on the Korea case and if there's any innovation measures mentioned in the slide that are truly effective. So I guess in the next 30 seconds, everyone can make their remarks and conclude the session.
Yes, I have no time, but I'd like to thank you, and I'm happy to talk to everyone when to continue the conversation about the panel. Thank you very much.
If we're so clever with technology, why can't we make something that once we've put an image online, it becomes indelible, it becomes unchangeable? I'd like more efforts from the tech industry, improving awareness. There's a great initiative in Latin America where they actually educate the ministers of education, so that we get not only a bottom-up from awareness raisers, but a top-down from the people who are meant to be there, who are elected to look after us.
For me, the problem I really feel is the accessibility of these tools. For example, you have like even if we outright have safeguards, for example, ChatGPT in like against this sexually explicit content, people who really are into it would find ways to download offline models such as Stable Diffusion. So the real thing is to how do we educate enough and make the accessibility of creating such content not as accessible.
Okay, in closing, deepfake sex crimes are not a global problem. Before starting the study of internet governance, I thought that actor had a big role, but now I'm thinking that everyone has a huge role. At studying public science, I think the political and institutions aspect need to be supplemented. But I think that opinions of various actors are all important for protect something, and deepfake crimes may start online, but they destroy real lives. So let's face the problems together, not just with punishment, but with prevention, awareness, and empathy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I guess we will be concluding this session, but we'd love to have more of your thoughts. So if you can, please comment on this platform. And once again, I guess concluding takeaway is we must act together and in order to combat sexual deepfakes and to be a good digital citizens. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.